life on it. We're going to eat stuff, right? We're going to eat stuff.
We're going to eat stuff. We're going to take the resources.
Yeah.
You know, like if there's water or anything to make water. If there's
okay, we have a 9-second delay. It is 12:31 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, March 2nd, 2025. This is a consensual recording of Mr. Gwen pursuant to the Federal Bureau of Investigation's instructions.
So Chuck Lightyear,
that being said, I am going to share my screen with you.
This freeze-dried ice cream shit. I'm going out and I'm making some calamari.
I'm running a test to see if I can run 2 live streams at once, and it appears that I can if this tab still has one running.
Like other stuff.
Yeah. And then they'll give them a bottle of Bush's whiskey. And
then I've got a new YouTube channel that is being created that I'll be able to run live streams on tomorrow.
We'll trade some little trinkets and stuff, stuff. Who knows? I mean, it could happen.
So instead of ending this stream right now, which I'll do later, most likely, I'm going to come over here where Unit 207 is actively attacked.
3D printing full rockets, and it's unbelievable. They're doing it at a fraction of what SpaceX is like. SpaceX looks at these guys.
Okay, so I crashed the tab and then I came back and test is
even crazier than SpaceX.
Yeah.
Apparently we can run 2 lives, but not concurrent with sharing the screens with both of them.
Japan, there's actually some Russian companies doing this kind of shit.
Let me try sharing the screen
China's
here.
got a competitor to SpaceX.
Okay, so how long do you think?
Okay, I'm sharing the screen in the 12
people on the moon again.
o'clock live, but I was already sharing the screen in this live and now I'm not. So let's go back to sharing the screen here.
There's a space station that's going to be built starting, I think, literally within months. I mean, we're talking like this is under construction next year. The Lunar Gateway is a space station, another space station that's going to orbit the moon, starting like.
So, like, what year are we landing on the moon next? What year are there going to be human beings?
2024.
Is that for real? 2024? There's going to be human beings on the moon?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do we want to talk about the moon, or do we not want to? I want
Sure.
You don't mind? You don't mind, like, having, like, you know what I'm saying, right? When I say that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But so, did you know about the Lunar Gateway? By the way, this is major.
No. But I mean, I'm talking about the other stuff about the moon. The other stuff that was controversial, though. What I'm going to ask you right now.
Yeah, go. I mean, the moon. It's the moon.
No, but it's about you and your opinions and the past opinions and whether they've changed.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. I know what you.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, can I ask the question? I don't even have to go there. I can go anywhere else if you want.
And like it's. I don't know. I mean,
I could talk about anything else. I don't have to talk about that, or I could just quickly ask you about it. Like the Van Allen radiation belt. We could talk about that, or we could just talk about something else.
Yeah. I'm fine with talking about anything.
Because we've had long talks, and I remember. Did we land on the moon? I remember at one point, after I interviewed Buzz Aldrin, one of the first 2 men on the moon, right? Went up there with Neil Armstrong, and they landed on the moon, and Buzz got out and stepped on the moon, and I interviewed him, and then we talked about it, and then we were sitting on my porch talking about this for hours and hours and hours, and you basically go down the rabbit hole on the internet, you read everything that there is to read, and you were telling me at one point you didn't think that we had put a man on the moon, and you thought it was a conspiracy.
I said there's some suspicion. There's a lot of stuff out there that is debating aspects of it.
Yeah. Now, how would that even be possible? How would they have like faked that? I mean, I can tell you how to fake it. I'm not saying whether they did it or didn't do it, but I mean, you build a real rocket. There's a real space program. There's a lot of hard work and tons of money going into that. You truly actually do launch into space. You orbit around for days and days and days. Meanwhile, you're in a studio simming the landings. You cut that's over, and then you're truly still orbiting around this, and then you truly land back with actual real astronauts that went like that. You could pull that off in the late 60s with, a few shenanigans. I mean, you could see how you could pull that stunt off. I mean, look. Let me just interrupt for a second. I want to say shenanigans. Shenanigans. I just want to say that. Shenanigans.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So I'm not saying that that's how it went down, but that's, if you're asking me how, hypothetically, I could say that's hypothetically how.
And tons of people believe that because the internet's spreading all sorts of information every which way, and lots of people don't think it happened. Yeah. I personally know that I believe that it happened, but I remember at one point you said you didn't think it happened because the Van Allen radiation belt was something that was too much radiation. This is what people often say, is too much radiation for a human to go through. But really what that means is the Van Allen radiation belt, you can't orbit in the Van Allen radiation belt for a long period of time or you'll get radiation sickness, but you can pass through it very quickly. I believe it only takes under a couple of minutes to pass through it on the way to the moon. So that's the discrepancy there.
The very cool thing about having open debates or conversations about these things is it exposes certain aspects of it, and we dig in and we learn things. So ultimately it makes everyone better for learning these types of things. Like what you described there, that's a very specific thing that we know about now.
Yeah, exactly. We wouldn't have known about the Van Allen radiation belt unless people are on the internet saying we never went to the moon. And then I went in and I disproved it. I figured out why. I asked Buzz Aldrin about it personally, and I understand now that we can pass through the Van Allen radiation belt. But it's amazing how this information kind of gets all like muddled up, and then people still actually believe you in the comments section. People are saying we didn't go to the moon. Mighty Sprocket saying moon don't go, didn't go, we didn't go to the moon. Well, I believe we did. I feel that you're saying that you believe we went to the moon now because you believe we're going to go again in 2024. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm not linking necessarily the two together. We are going in 2024.
Okay. But what I'm saying is when we did discuss it at one point, when you said you didn't think we went, you said the Van Allen radiation was a reason. But I mean, we're gonna have to pass through the Van Allen radiation belt now. Do they have better radiation suits now, or what's the?
Yes, they certainly do. By the way, that is for sure. Yes, absolutely, they definitely do.
Talk on that for a minute.
Yeah, well, I mean, the entire tech stack has improved. I mean, everything's better by far.
Yeah. Okay, so you think that it's possible? You still think it's possible that we never went to the moon, but still possible that we're going to go to the moon in 2024?
I don't know. I mean, look, yes, we are going in 2024. Do I think it's still possible that we didn't go? I don't know. Like, I'm an open mind kind of guy, and it looks like we went. It looks like we went.
Oh, okay.
It certainly does look that way. But I mean,
is that the same thing you would answer you would give me if we weren't streaming on the internet, though? Or? Right? I'm not going down this road with you, Phil. This is not a gotcha thing. We're just having fun here.
No, it's fine. It's all fun.
What are some other things that we talk about when we're sitting out on my porch?
Shit, everything. I mean, what do we talk about? I mean, I mean, everything, Tom. I mean, you know as well as I do.
I actually do want to talk about space a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, when you worked at the National Research Council when you were a kid, right? Mm-hmm. You were back behind the scenes of some sort of top secret kind of shit, right?
Not exactly. Not exactly.
But I mean, sometimes you would walk down a hallway and you'd look down a hallway and you'd see like a UFO, right?
There's a lot of funky stuff going on.
Is Tom being an asshole? Yes, he is. Is he trying to get Phil killed?
Yes. Back then, there was a lot more experimentation and pure research and just more funky stuff going on, especially before that era. Like, I mean, if we go back during
I don't answer the question directly,
War, I mean, between the late 40s to even the early 80s. I mean, that's the peak of like funky research there.
Yeah,
for sure. And
like when you say funky research, what do you mean exactly by funky research?
Well, I mean, flying saucers.
Yeah.
That kind of shit.
So you told
lasers.
I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you said, or somebody told me, I don't know where I heard this, that there was a flying saucer in Ottawa at the National Research Council.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of experimentation with that kind of stuff. The world's
but like there was an actual flying saucer there, right? Did you see it?
Yeah, so in the corner of Montreal Road.
They kept
Blair
it on. They kept
is
it
the
on.
world's first, it's still there. You can see it, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The world's first vertical wind tunnel.
Yeah. I remember seeing that all the time. Yeah. Why did we have a vertical wind tunnel in Ottawa in the 1970s?
Exactly. Why? And it was built way before that. Exactly.
Is it still there? It's still there?
Yeah.
So why did Ottawa, Canada, have a vertical wind tunnel?
Well, because okay. So and then there was a lot of other research. So we built flying saucer cars here in conjunction with the U.S.
Wait, so what kind of flying saucer cars were built in Ottawa in the 1970s?
You can look this up. This is all over the internet. There's YouTube's on this. You've seen some of these. So the de Havilland Corporation had major flying saucer projects. They built flying. So they look like flying saucers. If you imagine what a flying saucer looks like, you put a cannon or two on the front.
Yeah.
You got a pilot in a little bubble, and you fly around and you go freak people out and shoot them and do all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's what we were working on. This is all over the internet. This is not conspiracy stuff here. So
Canada was sort of working on that up there in Ottawa.
Yeah, sorry. I was thinking about it was Avro. It was de Havilland Avro, AV Row. Yeah.
And so, like, did you actually see this flying saucer though in like storage or something like that?
There's all kinds of shit like that over there. There's pieces of it. I didn't see it there, but there's pictures and video.
Okay.
It's all over the internet.
You didn't personally.
Now
see
he's lying.
No,
now he's trying to backtrack.
I saw the aerodynamics testing. That's the tunnel. There's people talking about it. There's research. There's all kinds of. You piece all that together. It's
okay.
Research.
Okay. All right. So you did see it then.
Tom knows the answer, and Tom is trying to get Phil killed.
It's on the internet. Just look at it. This is all over the internet.
He's like,
okay. That's pretty amazing.
He doesn't know what's declassified now.
What do you think people don't understand about Ottawa, where we grew up? Americans, particularly, or people around the world. What do you think people don't understand about Ottawa? What we do in Ottawa, what Ottawa's like, as far as he said, we've got a National Research Council, we've got a military.
19-year-old Phil walked into a room he wasn't authorized to walk into.
Right? What are we doing up there that people in the United States don't know about?
Well, aside from it being our capital and where our federal
in Ottawa.
Based out of?
Yeah, like how do we cooperate with the United States in a way to do things up there in Canada that maybe like
Canada is the United States, bitch, everybody.
And then we share information and all that stuff. Do we want to go down this road?
The answer is we go to Canada anytime they have something that's more advanced than us, and we steal it.
Like, remember when we went skateboarding last year and we skateboarded around that particular building?
And they say, okay.
You were telling me what was inside that building, lots of servers and hard drives and things.
I think it's because they have so few people. They know they can't go to war with us because there's so few people in Canada compared to here.
No, not on YouTube like this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's why I'm asking.
Tom's still trying to get him killed.
Okay. So when let's get back into like outside of the
Tom's got a
conspiracy
big
realm.
fucking
let's
mouth.
get into the real world here. Okay, the world that is verified real world. We're gonna go to Mars, right? They're going to Mars, right?
Yeah.
When do you think we're
wants
gonna
to
have
go to
humans on Mars, and what's the purpose of that?
We've all seen Total Recall.
So the part of the Lunar Gateway is to go to the Moon and Mars. It's not just, but it's to make Moon a staging area to go to Mars.
Yeah. So when are we doing that? When are we actually going to get to
doing
Mars?
That, I would say before 2030. I would hope so.
Don't you think that there's probably cooler shit on the Moon than there is on Mars, anyways?
There's definitely cooler shit on Mars than on the Moon.
Really?
For sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mars is an entire planet.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the difference, really, other than one revolves around the sun, one revolves around the Earth? They're just a giant rock, right?
If you melt all the ice on Mars, there would be a meter high of water around the entire planet. There's
really?
Massive water on Mars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. So then
we could live on Mars. There's a way to really live on Mars. It'd be hard to live on the Moon.
So they're talking about terraforming it. Is that what they're going to do? They're actually terraform it?
No, you don't have to terraform. No, You don't have to terraform. No, terraforming would be a huge thing, but you don't have to terraform to live on Mars.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one way of doing it.
But does that mean like it could melt a whole bunch of water and then create oceans and lakes and then like plants would grow and all of that kind of stuff?
I mean, eventually you need to create an atmosphere to kind of warm it up and contain all of these types of gases, and eventually you could kind of work your way towards that. Yeah. But I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, what's more realistic is some bases and some underground, tunneling, and some greenhouses with powered with solar and shit like that, and water.
Remember when I moved to Los Angeles? You came down here and lived with me down here for a little bit.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun, right?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
What was like? Explain what was that like for us when we were young kids, and then all of a sudden MTV picked up the show, and I came down here. You had a big job up in Canada, but you would fly down and you'd come on the show and do things, and all this crazy stuff was going on, and there was Saturday Night Live, and all of these exciting things happened. What was that like? That was pretty exciting, right, for us?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was amazing. We were much younger.
Yeah.
The show got picked up first in New York. So I mean, spending a lot of time in New York was so cool. And then eventually the show moved to LA, and then so I mean, there was a lot of traveling for me. There was a lot of back and forth. A lot more back and forth, than you, because both Glenn and I, essentially, I'll mention, we were both doing a lot more flying back and forth on weekends.
Yeah.
And so to New York to Ottawa, that's easy. That's a 40-minute flight or 45.
Somebody in the comments, and I admit it is a troll, but somebody in the comments says, it's Skullcrackers 187. He says, Phil hates Tom. Is that true? Do you hate me, Phil?
He says 2 days a week. Is he asking me if I hate you?
It's just a pure statement. He says, Phil hates Tom.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe he's saying that because I'm going in too hard on the conspiracy stuff, and I'm kind of pushing.
It's because
it's
somebody.
I think so. I
don't think you seem hateful there. And he's saying that I hate you, not that you hate me.
I just think some people sensed that I was going too far down the conspiracy, pushing you into places that maybe you didn't want to talk about, that you got a little quiet. And now
like when he walked into a room he wasn't authorized to walk into.
If that's
at
19. For that, to say like that I hate you. I mean, obviously I don't hate you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Skullcrackers 187 just said, "Ha ha." Yeah. I love you. You love me, right? We love each other, right?
Of course.
Yeah. We love each other.
Of course.
Yeah.
Major.
We've gone through crazy stuff together, right? We've gone through the craziest stuff, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely.
We landed upside down.
Of big things in life together for the first time.
Absolutely.
Fuck yes, whore, you're gonna pay.
Quite the contrary.
Yeah.
$30,000.
We do a lot.
Your life is worth more than $30,000, fools.
Like, we're pushing the conversation.
Oh, not this person. Not this person.
If people out there think
they're gonna get $0 for you.
Weird or uncomfortable.
Dedicated domestic terrorist.
On the spot or whatever. No. This is nothing.
Yeah, there's a lot of new people here on the channel. They don't really know, our relationship. They just tuning in. They don't know. They hit a button on their phone. They don't know that this has been going on for 30 years, type of thing.
Right. More.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
So
remember Team Road Rash? You remember that, Phil? Team Road Rash. Tell them about that. What was Team Road Rash?
That was our skateboarding team. It was kind of a thing, or important to have like a bit of a crew, of a team of skaters, and we would go out there and we would kind of rival other teams.
Yeah. Would we have been considered a gang?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And we would also like mark our turf.
Yeah, we would write Team Road Rash on things around the city with
the logo.
Yeah, what was it?
You know what? Funny enough, it was similar to a little bit of the Pal Peralta kind of.
Yeah. There was like a Bones Brigade type of thing involved.
I do remember it precisely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we were gang members, basically. Then.
We were gang, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We were in a skateboarding gang. And how many people were in our gang, Team Road Rash?
There were 3 of us or 4 or something. Who's the other guy?
Was Mark Dwyer a member of Team Road Rash? Or?
I'm not sure if Mark was, but was he? Yeah.
It might have been just us, right? It might have been just us.
It could have been, you know what, now that I think about it, I think it was just us.
Yeah, we had our own gang.
Look, like with many other gangs, sometimes there was violence. Like we were, there were moments where you're like either getting chased or it's life and death, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do you remember the rockers? Do you remember the time? Oh, the rockers, yeah. Do you remember the time we went to skate the ditch at the bottom of Blair Road, and these BMXers showed up, and then like a guy hit you, I think, and then like I kind of tried to get in the middle of it, and then he hit me, but you took one to the face, right? You remember that?
I do. I definitely do. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do.
And then what happened? We went up to McDonald's, and what happened? You poured salt on it, right?
Yeah, did we? I remember that part less. I definitely remember that moment and that whole situation.
Yeah.
What we did after? Did we go to McDonald's after?
Yeah, we skated up, or we went. Jody Morris was with us. We drove up there in his Mazda 2626.
Right.
We went to the McDonald's, and then you took a salt packet and you poured it on your lip that was cut because you thought that would disinfect it
a little bit.
Right. To disinfect it.
That's one thing you learn from skating. You learn all these like healing tricks, how to disinfect and aloe vera and clean your wounds, and you become pretty good at that. It becomes like a thing because you're always bailing. You're coming home with blood every single day. Like every single day, you come home with like a massive. You're bleeding.
Yeah.
Like as a kid skateboarding, you're always failing, and you get back up and you just keep doing it.
And we weren't like fight guys, right? Like we wouldn't fight, so we didn't even fight back. We tried to defend ourselves, and then we kind of left, like wusses.
We would talk our way out of anything.
Yeah, but were we like wusses because we didn't fight back or something, or were we just like kind of more evolved than that? We just
fucking didn't bother with that shit.
I remember how that broke down.
It was fun or something silly. It may have been something that you were doing or saying or whatever. We
probably were making fun because they were on X and we were on skateboards. So we thought,
he went back to the big guy and complained and told him like, whatever, making fun of him or whatever. He was making shit up or whatever. So then the big guy came back all angry. And I guess maybe because I was like the biggest guy, he thought it was me, so he punched me immediately, which was easy. But anyways, yeah.
Somebody is saying here, it says Skullcrackers 187 is really getting under my nerves, on my skin here. He's saying, he says, I bet Tom throws eggs. I bet Tom throws eggs. Do you recall any time where we ever threw eggs? I don't recall any time throwing eggs.
No, never.
Because we're not like guys that go out and like trying to damage things or vandalize things, right? We always kind of had a positive attitude. We like to create confusion without creating damage or anything like that. Because we like to confuse people.
Mental confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, with temporary small damage.
Yeah. Yeah. Mental confusion.
No, never eggs. Never threw like. Never any physical. That was never a thing. We never. Nothing like that.
Yeah. I'm looking at
something. We would damage, I guess, railings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, skateboarding.
Grinding curbs with paint on them.
Put a bit of damage onto like some certain infrastructure.
Sometimes our skateboard would damage some things, but we never actually went out.
But it was peaceful. Yeah.
Peaceful. And it's just a piece of concrete. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just see when a guy says, I bet Tom threw eggs, it's sort of, I think it's a common misinterpretation of what my comedy is, right? Like it's some sort of like, let's go and trash everything. And it's not, there's never been a negative sort of tone to my thing. It's just been more about confusing people, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, nothing physical like that, for sure.
Do you remember when I used to host the talent shows at Colonel By at my high school? And then you went to another high school and you would come by and I had a talk show desk on the stage.
It's crazy.
And you would come on the stage at my school and like help me host the show, and like you weren't even going to the school and you just kind of snuck in. Remember all that?
I do. I totally remember all that. It was amazing. I wish somebody had footage of that somehow. But that was that was just insane. I mean, it's almost hard to describe that shit, especially back then. But
remember, it was high school, and I had like a talk show desk on the stage. We had, we had a keyboard player. I can't remember his name, but he had an organ with a Leslie amp, just like Paul Schaefer. It was amazing with a house band. And then I was on stage with the desk, and I would introduce the bands. I remember there was
you were on student council, or what? You were president, but you what?
Yeah,
what were you
I was the grade, the 11th grade and 10th grade and 12th grade rep, and I would run I would run for student council every year so that I could produce and organize the assemblies, so that I could basically do something goofy like this with a desk and up on the stage and all that.
Totally remember that. That was crazy. That was insane.
I remember, like in the 10th grade, when I was hosting the assembly, I found a way to get this book that they had, which had the phone numbers of all of the students in the school in one book.
Oh, right. Yeah,
their home phone numbers.
Yeah.
And then I went to the AV department, and I got them to help me hook up a cordless phone to the system so that we could run the sound of the phone through the speakers, not much different than what we're doing right here now, 35 years later or whatever. And then I would walk out into the audience while I was hosting the assembly, and I would go up to like different people in the audience, and I would call their parents and get in a conversation with their parents in front of the whole school, and it would be really embarrassing for the person.
Totally.
Huge laughs.
I totally remember that. Yeah.
Huge laughs.
Totally remember that.
Some of the biggest laughs ever.
Absolutely.
High school. I've been chasing that feeling my whole life.
And that became a big part of the radio show too, is like using telephone to,
Oh yeah. Remember we used to drive around in my car with the first cellular telephone that existed. It was like this big, the cell phone. It was like, it was like you're calling in an airstrike. Okay. I'm doing my bits now.
I beat you to your joke.
Yeah, you beat me to my joke. Yeah.
That's your joke. That's
Sort of really ruined.
Which is one of my favorite jokes, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. So listen, but you remember that? And then we would drive around, and nobody knew how we were driving around with, and we were hosting the radio show from the phone.
Entire giant posses of cars. Like we amassed like 60 cars that were in unison, which was really, it's like watching the Chinese Olympic 4 years ago, and you see 1,000 drones and synchronized, and like it's like, but like 35 years ago, 60 cars, and we would go drive around, and we would go like, and everyone honked at the same time. Now, because you're on the radio also. So
in front of the Prime Minister's house.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so they could hear me because I was on the radio through a cell phone, and then everybody was listening on their radios in their cars, and I'd say, I'm driving down Sussex right now in front of the Prime Minister's house.
Now.
Everyone meet me in front of the Prime Minister. I'm in the 1982 gray Ford LTD. Right? Remember that car? It was a fun car. My dad's car, my parents' car. They let me use that car. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Man, this is so much fun. So much fun. And it's so much fun just being able to go live right now, and the studio's working. I spent the day yesterday on the phone with some engineers from Panasonic, and I'd like to thank Panasonic. I want to thank Rob from Panasonic.
Great company.
I want to thank Carl from Panasonic. Yesterday, I spent several hours on the phone with him, getting a lot of things hooked up with the Ethernet. One of the things that I got hooked up is now I'm actually feeding the program output of this show back to you in Skype. So when you're looking at your Skype feed, you're not just looking at the webcam shot of me from the camera. You're actually looking at the program out. So that makes it more of an. How's it technically for you? Is it an enjoyable experience?
It's great. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Of course. Yeah, it's great.
You're seeing
the audio's great. The video's great.
Yeah.
This is awesome. It's quite the setup that you've got here, and it's keep it up. Obviously,
you're seeing me cutting and all of this stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. Totally. Yeah. It's like I'm watching the TV show, but like I am on the TV show.
Yeah. Someone just asked, why have I never been on Howard Stern? I've been on Howard Stern twice. So I'm just answering some of the questions right now.
Yeah. Go for it.
Someone is saying tasty corn.
Okay.
And I love Howard Stern, by the way. I love Howard Stern. I grew up like really inspired by him. And I remember one time he actually called me and talked to me on the phone because he really liked when I went on the Tonight Show and got drunk on the Tonight Show. He thought that was fun. So he called me on my phone and we had a good talk about that. So Howard Stern, the GOAT. And looking at some of the questions right now. Okay, I don't want to talk to you for 10 fucking hours, Phil. So I'm going to let's do a final segment.
Sure.
A final segment where I'll take some questions from callers. This final segment could last half an hour. I don't know how long.
Sure.
It'll last until it lasts. But I just want you to let everyone know we're sort of going to wind down a little bit. And Phil will call back again, right? You'll be back again.
Sure.
But I want to make sure that this is all working. I want to save it. I want to make sure the computer doesn't crap out.
Make sure you hit save.
Yeah, I don't want the computer to crap out in the middle of this and then we lose all of this amazing stuff. So I'm going to wind the show down. But let's take some questions from on YouTube, from the comments, and let's ask questions for Phil or me, but mostly for Phil because we have Phil right now. Questions for Phil. Phil, here's a question from Chris Reed.
Okay.
Do you miss drinking stubby beers?
Yeah, and I still get to once in a while. There are a few craft hipster breweries that make and sell beers in the stubbies, and I do enjoy that. So I do miss stubbies. Yes, the answer is yes.
Those are, of course, when we grew up back in the 70s. The beers were like these little tiny stubby bottles and were fun.
Yep.
Now it's more of a retro thing. Okay. People, Phil, are loving you on the show, by the way. People are saying Phil is a legend. Phil should be permanent co-host. Phil should be permanent co-host, they're saying. Can you do this every day, Phil? Can you quit your job and do this every day?
I mean, I could, it's something to think about.
Phil for permanent co-host.
I could do it often for sure. Look, hey, I'll do the show anytime, Tom. We'll do this anytime. Of course, not a problem.
They're asking right now, what are you drinking, Phil? What are you drinking right now?
Okay, well, I happen to be drinking a delicious beer from Toronto. It's called Lost Craft Revival. So if everyone in Toronto will know this beer. Yeah. It's delicious, and that's what. It's a hipster, delicious craft beer. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. I love the hipster craft stuff.
Okay, more questions for Phil from the comments. People are saying you're a legend. He's a legend. People are saying Phil for Prime Minister. Phil, you rock.
Wow. Okay.
People are saying smoke weed. Phil, this is a question for you. Do you smoke weed?
You know the answer to this, Tom. Frankly, I'm not a big weed guy. I'm not even a weed guy. Yeah. So I don't really. I mean, once in a while.
You don't smoke weed.
You're not a weed guy.
You don't smoke weed.
Yeah. I mean, once in a while, I'll.
Yeah.
Clinton would say, try it. Whatever.
You don't even do it.
But I've had secondhand stuff from
you don't smoke weed. You don't have to say you smoke weed to make everybody think you're a cool wead smoking guy. You don't smoke weed.
Well, I'm basically saying I'm not a weed guy.
Yeah. You don't smoke
I'm more into this kind of stuff, frankly.
Yeah. But you like to drink though. You do like to drink, right?
Yeah. And I like to have a good time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. More questions from people on Skype. On YouTube. Can we, from Scorsese, can we talk about telemetry data?
Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, what do you want to know? I know.
I think it's probably somebody just trying to test your knowledge and see if you even know what it is.
Sure. Oh my God. I mean, sure. I mean, what do you want to know? Like, I mean, I work in telemetry data.
What is telemetry? What is telemetry
data? Very simplistically, typically it doesn't have to be from a vehicle, but it's any kind of instrument.
Gemini AI once again paid for again on the plane, Unit 207 goes to prison at gmail.com.
Sensors.
They won't allow me to cancel the prior subscriptions because they want to steal another $20, $40, $60, $80 from me whenever. They may have already done that.
Itself.
Okay. Petty.
Typically, that's relayed somewhere else, related to mission control or to some sort of receiver. But it's the data that's generated. So as an example, speed, tire pressure, altitude, all humidity, blah, 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 blah. That's the transmission of that is typically the telemetry. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And they're saying that they destroyed the moon landing telemetry data. That's what they're saying right now.
Yeah. So that would be the recordings of all that data. Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously.
All right. Another question. And that's right. We can ask personal questions or we can ask technology questions for Phil.
Yeah, anything.
Is a computer genius, right, Phil?
Well, I mean, I'm a computer guy, but I mean, sure.
You're a computer genius, right?
know if I'm a genius, but I can field some computer questions, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, of any kind.
So let's ask a computer question for Phil Giroux.
Okay.
Computer question for Phil Giroux.
Jeez, I hope I know the answer.
Can you explain computer questions? By the way, don't everyone's getting all like into like. Let's think of the craziest thing to talk about. We've got they're asking about string theory now and fractional geometry. It's computer questions for Phil.
That could be related if you get into quantum stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about that?
I mean, is there a question?
What does Phil believe that he's living in? Have you guessed? I'll give you an idea.
Oh God! I mean that's
Phil
a bit
believes
less computer type stuff. Again, that's a bit more like quantum physics and quantum mechanics and that kind of shit. But
let's use an analogy.
Okay,
we're
He
taking the
is to
audience
his
downhill.
home and wife if he's still
right.
married.
Okay, so let's talk computers then. What is your
The same way
what is
that
your
a lion
favorite?
at the Woodland Park
What is your
Zoo
favorite computer language?
with his lioness in his pack
Oh man.
at the Woodland Park Zoo?
You know, if I stick to my, and there's so many, and I'm not like actively programming per se, like, you know, much. I mean, I don't really program aside from just dabbling here and there. Just depends what you want to do. I'm going to stick with basic, man. You can't go wrong with basic.
Basic.
I'm just going to stick with basic.
So you think basic is
Basic's the king.
and why is basic your favorite computer language? It sounds kind of basic to me.
Yeah, I mean, it can get pretty hardcore. It's the most like classic old school language. You can kind of do anything you want with it. It's lean. It's mean. Yeah, I don't know. Favorites. It's like saying what's your favorite?
Okay, somebody is asking, do you know C++?
Yeah, of course. Right. That's basic. That's also like simple. C++.
Can you quickly explain C++ to people just to prove to them that you know what it is?
Sure.
And explain to people who don't know what it is what it is.
I mean, this could be a 5-hour thing, but you had C, and then C++ is the object-oriented version of C.
Okay.
Leave it at that, I guess.
So wait, what does that mean? What does that mean? C is a language, and then C++ is an object-oriented language version of C.
Version of C.
What does that mean? And of course, send more computer questions for Phil that I can ask him. Computer questions for Phil Giroux. Phil Giroux is a computer genius. Computer questions for Phil Giroux. Okay.
The domestic terrorists upstairs are still actively
attempting
attempting to terminate and prevent
The
new
plus
live
plus
streams.
is the object-oriented.
We'll be addressing that. I've got quite a list of to-do things that I've got to do today, all because of these idiot terrorists.
That is a bit more.
I'm not happy about it.
Object-oriented.
But I'm waiting to do it.
What does that mean?
There they are. How you doing? Check out the pandas of
routines. Or routines.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Object-oriented data routines. I don't know what that means. What's that mean?
So basically, with C, you could run some code, and it could kind of like.
If you're wondering, well, what do
you
you
could
have
get into
to
some
do?
spaghetti
Well,
shit
you'll
into
find out. But basically, I have to listen to these fucking
going all over
recordings
that
of myself that
with
I'm tired of
doing things
listening
and
to.
It's object-oriented is a bit more cleaner on how that's all structured.
Okay. I still don't understand. I'm going to go to another
Yeah.
question. What do you
okay,
what do
And
you
then
think
I have
of
to record them
upcoming
again, and then I have to
quantum
upload them
computing?
here, and I have to
what is that?
live stream them there. And then I need to do
Quantum computing
laundry.
is crazy ass shit, man. And there are actually right now the beginnings of very limited production stable quantum computers. Like it's no longer theoretical. I think they're up to 40 qubits right now that are running stable. So it's a totally different kind of computer. It's the type of computer, essentially, let me put it this way. If you take all the computers in the world right now, all of them, and you ask them to solve something or to crunch something, a certain type of problem. And let's say all of those computers, it would take them, 3 years to solve this thing. A quantum computer could do, depending on what it is, could do that thing in like, 1 second.
Wow. Okay.
So they're not like significantly faster, they are
Phil also believes that we are living in a simulacrum.
Ridiculously faster, but for certain types of things.
And that's why when Tom is like asking questions about space,
humanity. And we're talking like this is now and over the next couple of years.
Phil
we're going to start to
him a little
see some
bit.
crazy ass shit with quantum computing. If you're a company, like you're going to need access to one, or else you're fucking dead.
Because Phil doesn't believe that
somebody
Phil
is
is
asking about
here.
artificial intelligence. Do you know anything about artificial intelligence?
When Tom asked him, well, didn't you walk into a room and see gloopity gloopity?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
And then Phil started talking and basically talked for like 5 minutes.
Let's break it down here to our viewers.
I can't answer that, Tom. You already know the fucking answer. Are you trying to get me killed?
Phil
And then
answer
later
that
he's like,
question
no,
right
no.
now. Phil
I
is a
saw
computer genius.
a
Okay.
wind funnel.
And also another computer question from Matt Gillard. What is more important to Canada, Deep Wave or what company is more important to Canada, Deep Wave or General Fusion?
I'm pretty familiar with Deep Wave from Victoria, I believe, from British Columbia.
Yeah.
They are way more advanced. I would say it's hard to say. I mean, look, they're all important. Like the more, the better. They're shit. I mean,
yeah,
obviously.
Okay. So we're asking for questions about artificial intelligence for Phil Giroux, who is a computer genius. I'm here today with computer genius Phil Giroux, and we're
some
asking,
AI questions would be amazing. Yeah.
A lot of people are saying, are we living in the Matrix? He says, will AI? That's a lot of questions here. Will AI destroy humanity?
Will AI destroy humanity? So, like that's like almost like a question that perhaps doesn't really make sense in of itself, because like it's not a switch that like, okay, AI is going to kill humanity or over time. Like AI is just helps us do things.
Yeah, people are asking, what are AI algorithms? Please explain. What is AI? What are AI algorithms?
This is awesome, especially if guys.
What's that?
See,
Okay,
Phil
so,
can't answer it,
AI,
honestly. Tom's trying to get him killed.
It's just a
And
bunch
Tom
of
knows,
code
and Tom
data.
isn't even
It's-
allowed to know.
You're
He's
looking. There's
just
different
thumbing his
facets
nose at
to it.
everybody.
There's like
Trying
machine
to
learning.
get Clarence to know
there's,
what Phil knows. He's saying, Phil's my
there's neural
friend.
networks.
Phil doesn't
there's,
follow the Clarence rules.
There's all kinds of semantics analysis.
And that's why I like Tom, because he's just an
there's all
asshole.
kinds of
And he's
different
funny sometimes.
things about AI. AI is kind of like a broad
And I like
term,
Phil because he's a real one.
which says you've got a bunch of data, you can look for patterns and see if you can build, rules or adapt the rules as you go, as new stuff comes in, and try and make some predictions. And
I like Glenn because he's the cutest and the sweetest, and he's
you can spot
literally like
things
the
a lot
son
easier
that
than humans
Tom and
can,
Phil would have
or
if
that
they
you
had a
can
son.
with traditional
They'd
types
have Glenn.
of statistics and shit like that. So it's a very broad, like much encompassing kind of term. Frankly, AI is still a bit of a buzzy kind of
See, what's Phil saying, guys? He's saying,
concept.
who's to
Yeah.
say
A
that
lot of
we're not
people are
AI? That's what
asking,
he's saying. He's saying,
What do you
that
think of
in a roundabout way.
Bitcoin, and is Bitcoin a good thing? What do you think of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I'm big into blockchain and also specifically crypto. So I love the whole like concept of it and how it's disrupting a lot of things, especially as it relates to finance and things related to finance, especially. So yeah, Bitcoin. Look, Bitcoin was the first big dog on the block.
Yeah.
There's a gazillion other cryptocurrencies. I'm more into Zilliqa myself personally.
Now, what is Zilliqa?
It's another crypto. It's one of it's a more emerging one. It's got much faster throughput. Like it's just faster. It's a lot faster and more distributed than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's like kind of generation one of crypto. Then you got Ethereum and a bunch of others that are kind of Gen 2, and then you got Zilliqa and a bunch of other ones that are Gen 3, essentially, you know.
No, I don't know what this means, but will a DLT beat out Bitcoin? Does that make any sense to you? Will a DLT beat out Bitcoin?
Distributed ledger technology?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about, yeah.
Beat out Bitcoin. Like,
Yeah.
it depends what we're talking about here. I mean, they're both blockchain. So distributed ledger, I mean, Bitcoin is a distributed ledger in a way.
Okay.
But there are Gen 2 and Gen 3 are much more like DLT like. So it depends on the question there.
Okay. All right. So people seem to be asking about that.
Okay.
Can AI develop a consciousness or a conscious?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How so?
Absolutely. There are many companies that are very advanced with that. And not just companies, like groups. Absolutely. I mean, this already has happened. It's just at kind of like at the 1-year-old sort of level. You know, the trick is to take it to like a 5-year-old type of consciousness and intelligence, and then to go to like an 18-year-old and you know, a 35-year-old, and then after that like a 10,000-year-old, and after that like a 1,000,000,000,000-year-old. So, you know, right now they're kind of at about a 1-year-old. It works. It's already done. It's already there's a gazillion companies that are not only working on this but have already achieved that level.
So you're saying that computers basically have the awareness of a 1-year-old now. They can see and react and learn.
Depending on what's fed to them, yeah. But yeah, so it depends on your definition of consciousness. But there are tests and there's ways to define that, but they typically grade it to like, you know, a human and how old they are and their level of sort of awareness. And like a 1-year-old's like, oh, bright light, oh, okay, you know, and like, oh, I heard a sound, I think that's my mom. And, you know, it's very limited, you know, like a toddler, almost like a 1-year-old baby is like, you know, still figuring shit out and is aware, but it's very basic, you know.
Okay, more questions for Phil Giroux about computers.
And just to add to that, if you check out, like, if you just punch into Google, like, there's hundreds of companies in Silicon Valley and all over the world and MIT and all that shit that they're there. This is not future science fiction shit. Like, the trick is, again, like I said, taking it to the next levels. But that is accelerating fast. When you throw that into a quantum computer, holy shit, forget about it.
Okay. Let me see here. We're going to talk a few more questions about computers for Phil Giroux, a computer genius, Phil Giroux. Some people are noticing that you are actually smarter than Elon Musk, people are saying. I happen to agree with that.
I don't think so.
I happen to agree with it.
Oh boy.
We are talking with Phil Giroux, a computer genius. He is smarter than Elon Musk. And
definitely not.
Absolutely. Phil Giroux is here with us. He is actually known in computer circles to be smarter than Elon Musk. And it's great to have you, Phil. He knows more about computers than anybody in the world. And he's here today to answer any question you have about computers.
How can you take some more questions?
Yeah.
It's funny because he's being humble, but it's actually true.
Will there be an artificial afterlife? I guess we're talking like, will we be able to load
up? So, yeah, and I've been thinking about that since I'm a kid. In fact, I used to.
He is like one guy that I dated.
Yeah.
He used to take apart all of the computers and put them back together before he even got into
that was in
like
the 90s and the technology.
Just for fun.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There are companies that already are working on that. The idea is soon, as in the next year or two, but not much further than that, you will be able to transpose yourself into an AI cloud system, essentially. I'm just going to describe it that way to kind of, it's not exactly that, but
now keep that in mind and remember, he believes that we are in a simulacrum.
Moving myself into the net, and then I physically die, but my
But he doesn't know,
footprint
and he's
and
alive.
awareness continues to
Because
live in the
of
network, and it's like
How's that any different
The
than this
cloud.
YouTube show, though?
Heaven,
Right?
the cloud, get it?
Exactly. So then I continue. You can keep talking to me. It's like, hey Tom, it's Phil. I know everything. It's me. I'm acting like me. I'm still learning. I might even have this 3D avatar that looks perfect, even better than me. Removed wrinkles, whatever I want. Younger, older, doesn't matter. I'm still me. Hilarious
Man,
jokes.
woman,
totally
black,
like
white, brown,
fully alive. You
fat,
can't fucking
skinny,
kill
tall.
it.
What do you want
Blockchain
God to tell you about?
distributed. You can't nuke it. Whatever. It keeps living forever.
Okay.
So that there's
Forever.
companies on that. So that'll become a big thing. That already is a thing. There's a lot of companies working on that
Unless you
already
game over.
Okay.
have those kind of
From
early stage versions of that.
Rick
So
T.O.
yes.
Yep. From Rick T.O. When will humans have nanobots in our bloodstream?
Well, again, talking about Elon Musk, I mean, he's got a company that does that, and he's going live like in 6 to 12 months with the first product. So
Nanobots,
So
smaller than the
transhumanism,
size of a
the
human
ability
cell,
to,
have existed for over 25 years.
merge man with machine, with whether they're small things or
That's
big
not
things.
classified.
You're augmenting yourself, your body, whether it's with a mechanical arm or a bionic eye or a brain implant or something that goes through my veins and cleans the fat or the dirt or whatever. All of those things, there's companies working on that shit right now. So
Another
chip
question.
to augment your intellect
Yeah.
next year. I'd say that's 300 days away from
Yeah.
being out with a media story of the first
Being
human
out
that's done
with the
that,
media
if not
story,
already
he
in the
already
labs.
knows.
So the answer really is now. It's not 3 years from now.
Yeah. Well, lots of great questions come in about computers. I'm here with Computer Genius.
And this podcast episode is so cute because not only is Tom trying to get Phil killed, Phil did not get killed because Phil is so good at what
I'm here
Phil
with Computer
does.
Genius, Phil
And
Giroux,
Tom is
smarter
literally
than Elon
sticking his
Musk.
tongue out at everyone with top security clearance, and he's being like, "I know what I'm not
And,
supposed to know."
We're figuring out how this system works too now. I'm
It's fucking
enjoying
adorable.
cutting to
They're
you when you
both
do the laugh as well. It's fun. He's a humble guy. He doesn't want to just say, we don't want to start branding this as like I'm smarter than Elon Musk or whatever, but he is. And he can answer any question.
Any questions, really? Yeah.
Any-
Happy to take some more. Yeah, for sure.
Any single question he can answer about computers. Okay, from Grisou, when will we reach a technological plateau?
Never.
No?
Never.
No. Just going to keep getting faster and...
Yeah. The rate of which advancements happen is increasing continuously. So we're not just increasing advancement, the rate of which it is the rate of the acceleration of it is increasing.
Okay.
So never. And it's going to get faster and faster and faster. The difference in change in technology over the last 100 years, okay, the next 10 years will be way crazier than the entire last 100 years.
Okay, I'm saying what
far,
he just
by
said,
far.
but
Yeah.
right now, this is like a few years old,
Okay.
this episode. But
reading
I'm
some
saying
more
that right
comments
now.
right now and questions,
Uh-huh.
a few more questions.
Because
Uh-huh.
astrologically, Pluto is
Can
in
quantum
Aquarius,
computers
which
and
means
AI
that our
come up with
creator,
new
Godzilla,
solutions
is
for
about to
climate
play
change and
sci-fi
pollution?
adventure. Means the
Quantum
next 10
computers
years, any guy
with
that's a
AI,
Trekkie or a hardcore Star Wars
can
fan
tackle
will be thrilled. Means
any
huge tech
problems.
advancements.
They can look
Or
for solutions,
disclosures.
but I mean, again, it
Or
depends.
both.
You can direct something. You got to direct it the right way. And
For
you still
everyone,
need
not just
you
for
know,
certain
people-
people. For everyone.
to like properly
Around
use
the
those
world.
tools. They're just tools. It's like a gun. Like you can use it, any way you want. But if you use it the proper way, that's a weird analogy, but it's a tool. So the answer is yes. You can drastically accelerate all kinds of shit that if you're having challenges and problems with certain things, whether it's weather, climate, nuclear, gaming.
Okay, here's a question from Chris Reed. Does Phil wear leopard skin underwear?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Here's another question. It says, Phil needs a fresh beer.
Yeah, I do. You're right. But I still have a little bit here, but yeah, I'm running low for sure.
You want to get a fresh beer and come back, or should we just take a few more questions and wind it down for today, and we'll
let's keep going. I mean, I'm good for now. I still have a few, like there's much left here, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Questions for Phil Giroux about computers. We want these questions to be about computers. Okay.
Not about shit that's classified, Tom.
Okay. Questions about computers for Phil Giroux. 5G. There's been a lot of questions about 5G and whether or not it is dangerous, and there's some conspiracies.
Did the domestic terrorists terminate the live stream?
Yeah,
I'm sending a panda.
Following that for sure, more than following it. What do you think of 5G? Look, spectrum and radiation use of the spectrum is safe. Like anything else, it can be dangerous, but it's generally safe. You just don't want to have your head too close to something emitting radiation for too long. That's my number one tip. And frankly, whether it's 4G or 3G, that still applies. Or your Wi-Fi hub. So that's it.
So you never, like, for instance, like, just to break it down to real world stuff, you never hold your phone to your head and talk on the phone, your cell phone.
I try not to. There's some, instances where I'll still call for 45 seconds and, but I try to avoid that. Look, it's not a good idea to blast radiation at your brain or anywhere on your body. A strong
Really? I never
low
knew.
dosage or strong dosage. I mean, you're better off just not doing it. Look, if someone's asking me, is it okay to do a 45-second call versus is it okay to talk for 7 hours on your cell phone and your head's getting hot? Well, it's getting hot because that's radiation. The microwave was invented because guys in Vietnam were cooking their foods near fucking big radar dishes, looking for the enemy. They realized, hey, we can just cook our food here. Let's just put our food on the radar dish because it's emitting like crazy amounts of radiation.
Yeah.
And it's cooking the food. So then they let's make microwaves. And now
that probably was not that healthy, I bet.
It's not healthy. No, it's healthy as in it's not.
It's not going to kill you, dude. You have to remember that some of the greatest scientists of all time
a lot less of a problem.
had full-blown
another question
radiation
about
poisoning and
computers for
lived
Phil
lengthy
Giroux,
lives.
computer genius.
But you also have to remember that
the
nuclear
question
power
is
something
are you
that
a gamer, and what video
a
games
lot
do you
of
like,
rich
and
people
are
don't
you
ever
a
want to
gamer?
see utilized.
Yeah, so I've always played games since I'm a kid. That's part of getting into computers. I've built and run a video games company. Still going actually.
What is your video game company, and how can people find that?
It's a mobile game company that I started almost 20 years ago. It's called Magmic Games, MAGMIC, magmic.com.
Okay.
These days, it's very different than it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago at its heyday. Now it's just a couple of mobile games, card games, casual games, that kind of stuff from Hasbro, Mattel, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Actually, just Hasbro right now.
And would you encourage people watching to go buy one of your video games from Magnet?
Yeah, I mean, no or yes or whatever. It's just sure if they want to check it out. Yeah, go check it out. But so yes, I play games mainly these days. Funny enough, last night I played this old retro game that just came back out on Steam called Command and Conquer.
Okay.
Remastered, fucking wicked game.
Okay.
I've also been playing Sniper Elite 4, which is awesome. And
so what do you play these games on? What kind of platform are you playing them on?
Like a gaming PC, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like a big ass with a graphics card and like a brand new, like a nice. I've got a good setup.
So you're not playing like an Atari 2600 or anything like that?
No, that's fun too. I do have retro emulation on like all that stuff. I love those old games, man. Those are wicked. I do have all those games. We have a friend, who I'm talking about here, Tom. Yeah. That has every single game in the world, basically. Yeah. Like hundreds of thousands, and he's, we have access to that shit. So, so yeah, the old school games are awesome. The new games are great. They're all great. So, but yes, love gaming. Love to play games. It's great diversion. It's a lot of fun. Play with your friends. Good times.
Amazing. Well, Phil, listen. Next time we're going to fix the shot let's want to fix the shot so it doesn't do the in and out the lighting. We'll find a different place, maybe down behind the furnace or something like that.
Awesome. But there might be noise though, like when it kicks on, the AC.
Yeah, I would like that. I would like that. But no, Phil, you hold tight. I'm going to wind the show down. I'm going to say bye to everybody here. This has been Phil Giroux from the Tom Green Show. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, super awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us today, Phil. This system is getting better and better here as we speak. And, you'll be able to watch this show all day today. It's posted. The entire show will be free and available for everybody on this channel to watch forever for free. And Phil will be back with us again sometime soon, right? You're going to come back and join us again soon, right, Phil?
Absolutely. Let's do it on a regular basis anytime you want.
All right. That's awesome. Okay. Phil Giroux, everyone. Thanks, Phil. Hold tight for a second, Phil. I want to talk to you after we get off here.
Everyone.
Test received by Gemini.
Awesome.
1:34 p.m. Nerd Squad.
Thank you, man. All right. That's Phil Giroux, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Webble Vision, the Tom Green podcast. And super exciting.
I'm going to see if I can find that other episode I was trying to listen to that got ruined. Just chill with Oliver. That's it.
It's not a hobby. It's your empire. It's not DIY.
We don't have to fight. We don't have to kill.
Bad medium-sized hermit. Yeah, I'll do it. Like I said, you buy the thing, I'll do it. You found one for like $35
$14.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta try it.
I'll pay half.
Yeah,
we'll $7 each. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Stand-ups.
But we've got about 50 million followers. We're in the billions of views, and we're a small team.
We always felt like our content was all about entertainment and being fun, but there was also this, sort of professional business side. One of the things that we knew was basically essential was getting our own website, so people did actually see a proper official group who mean business.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, we're constantly sending each other like stupid jokes, trying to make them like slightly stupid or slightly more stupid.
Just refining it, yeah.
And it's fun. It's good time.
So that's the plan. Just keep signing up every month for now.
Yeah, the plan is it's fun.
The plan
fun,
is no plan.
There's no plan. It's just we're just having fun. It's like I'm like a guy with a guitar, basically. It's the same kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, you're planning enough that you're taking the time to sign up. You got to do it
takes
in
about
advance.
8 seconds.
No, but it's remembering to do it, forcing yourself to do it. You know what I mean?
I'm enjoying the process of. I like learning new things, and I'm enjoying the process of what goes behind writing comedy.
Yeah. It sounds cliche here. We'll sound Hollywood here, but we enjoy the creative process.
Oh, that's fair.
The creative process, and then it's one thing to write the jokes. It's another thing to kind of perform or say the jokes.
Execute it the way you want to.
Say jokes, but just to perform. And we've always kind of liked that kind of. I say we because we've done a lot of stuff over the years. I've been on stage with this guy like 1,000 times in different ways, not just on the show, the Tom Green Show, but on all the other things that we've done, whether it's music or just silly, stupid stuff on stage. Doing
but never stand up.
But never stand up. Although a lot of the stuff that we've done, you could say could be
stand up.
Could be
right.
On the could be interpreted sort of kind of that way.
Well, you featured that night when I was there. You were doing like closing the night out.
Yeah. And
how'd you feel about that performance?
It was great. I mean, I just opened for Tom Friday too. That was a good show. Just literally a couple of days ago. The difference was when I did it Friday, a couple of days ago, the room was full as opposed to like 6 people in the audience. And you were there.
It was like a Wednesday night or something. Yeah.
So what do you? Okay, here's the question: what do you prefer?
I prefer a full room, but I say this all the time. I love the mayor if there's like only 3 people on the end in the audience. I genuinely love that as well. You know that I'm kind of weird that way. Like I love a full room, but if it's like extra weird, I like that even more.
It's not the in between where it's like 10 to 15.
Look, anything is amazing, but
So that night there were maybe like. No. There were like 12. I think I counted 25 people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, if you're counting the other comics and the bartenders.
Including the bartenders.
I think because Brian said they had sold 12 tickets.
Yeah, but there were more people.
But when that happens, then they'll offer out free ones, like call us
for
free tickets.
I like it all as the real answer. But certainly if there's only 2 people in it, which is pretty rare. I mean, that's fun too. I'm kind of weird that way. Like I'll enjoy that. Genuinely, I always say that
because I love uncomfortable comedy.
Yeah, I love it. Exactly.
If it's uncomfortable,
exactly,
that's
even
it's
better.
probably uncomfortable
Even better.
for them. That's
100%.
It can definitely work to your advantage at times. Have that awkward flair.
It's just, that's how I see it. But yeah, it's fun.
Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad you guys are getting back into it, or you're getting into it for the first time. I hope you stick to it. I see you always after shows inquisitively sort of, talking to the other comics and trying to pick up tidbits of this and that.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn what different comedians go through in their own process of writing.
Because it's very different person to person.
So
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different. Yeah.
I mean, the trick is finding your version of that,
Yeah.
kind of refining your own lane.
And like being friends with Tom, he's been really helpful because he's been touring now for 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a seasoned pro now.
Yeah.
Performing.
Okay, the hackers,
Really
I need to
awesome.
compose an
Like
email.
over 2
So whatever
hours, and
you're
he was
doing,
free
I'm
willing
ending
half
these so
of it.
that the
No,
fucking compose will open.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fix your shit.
Yeah.
Get your shit together.
I think he has done that.
Yeah.
Once,
I can believe it. Yeah, he never seemed scared or anything. He just seems so in his element,
He's putting on great sets.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
he's been using Ottawa as a bit of a residency.
Yeah.
Perform once a month just to kind of stay fresh and get on stage.
Well, and your hometown feels comfortable, I'm sure.
Yeah. You need a stage to kind of work your material and stuff. So
And Howie and him go way back as well.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's either that or the end of Spark Street. That's a stage 2, I guess. Just on the street.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, totally. So
He doesn't do street stuff too much anymore, though. Eh? It's kind of over
no, but I mean, I joke about that because that's kind of like how we'll say we started, but that's kind of like how we grew up doing that. Comedy
Harassing people
on the
and-
street,
Yeah.
like literally. So just
Well, you guys go way
without
back.
a camera.
You're a Beacon Hiller, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think you live like down the street from my folks' place. You were telling me Eastvale or
He's
something.
another-
yeah.
he's another
My
one.
dad lives on Grafton.
Yeah. Oh, right on the corner.
Yeah.
That's
Did you go to CB too or no?
No, I went to Louis.
Oh, okay, in Blackburn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And where'd you go? You told me last time, I think.
Ottawa Tech.
What the fuck is that? Is it closed now?
Yeah, it is.
It is. Okay, I think I know. Is it downtown?
Yeah.
I went there once or twice, like at the outside.
What school did you? Where'd you go?
Colonel Bias.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I was there in grade 9 in gym class when Tom came with Monica
Yeah.
Lewinsky and told us all to skip and go to
Oh,
the
yeah.
cheap store.
Wicked.
This is where I got you to give me an autograph. You signed
Oh,
my
yeah.
pants.
Okay.
And you didn't even write your name. You just wrote ACDC.
Right.
And I was kind of a little bit like, man, what the fuck? But
That's
it was
me.
still cool to meet
Yeah.
you guys,
Well,
Cheated. Young Oliver.
ACDC. I mean, that's
No, not even. It was still super exciting to be skipping school to go do something rad like that,
The Petit Cap store.
Yeah, it's in Vegas.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that.
That's a
day.
good memory. All my friends from high school remember that day
It was
too.
such a weird week.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can imagine. Right?
Sure was.
Well, I wanted to actually, going back to the stand-up, I wanted to talk about AI because it's something you
Okay.
mentioned on stage.
Uh-huh.
And I know you work sort of in the tech industry. And I wanted to ask you, someone who actually is knowledgeable about this stuff, do we need to be worried of like a Skynet type future?
If
Yeah,
you're going to
in your
keep
opinion.
hacking
Yeah,
it, you're going to need to allow it to function. You're
I do
stupid.
joke about this in my
You're
set.
stupid and you're going to
Dynamics, robots,
prison.
And Skynet.
Why must you
Um,
dictate every moment of
so-
my day?
I mean, worried. Like,
Because you want to go to prison. That's the answer.
It's not crafty. It's your craft. It's not
Open the
DIY.
email unit 207.
It's do it yourself on Wix.
Hi, I'm regional commercial actor Neil Patrick Harris. I love Rise Mushroom Coffee. And not just because I look good drinking it.
Hello, Dad.
I also like the improved focus and all-day energy. Plus, it's easy on the stomach. That's because we use only the best organic mushrooms, like Stumpy Warthog, Bird in the Bushes, and Found a Herein Marsupius, which sound like made-up names because they are. Rise mushroom coffee. Drink it cold or hot, like me.
Yes and no. It just depends. Like, shit's gonna get crazy, so you don't necessarily need to like worry about that. But I guess it depends what side of the track you're on. If you're maybe on this side of the track, yeah, maybe, but not if you're on that side of the track. So that basically means, like, what the hell did I just say there? That means nothing.
It's a little vague, but
it's a pretty vague of an answer. But yeah, some stuff is going to some jobs are going to get replaced, so to speak. Some stuff's going to be done by machines instead of humans.
Well, that's already happening.
But that's already happening. But the pace at which it's happening is accelerating.
Yeah.
Drastically.
Unit 207.
And people are becoming more complacent.
We're still
in
connected. You're
everything
stupid as fuck.
because,
Let me
some sort
open
of do it
goddamn
for you, you know?
emails.
Yeah.
Chat GTP
Quit
and all that shit.
doing shit
ChatGPT,
that's going to make
exactly.
you
It's
go
super
to
fun,
prison.
But I just heard them talking on the Daily Show about how when
See?
it first came out,
Still
it only had a
connected.
10%
Now let me
chance of
open the
passing bar
emails.
exam, and now it's up to 90 in like
Oh, yeah,
4 months or something.
But ChatGPT went down today.
Oh
It
yeah.
crashed, and of course they had to get humans to get it back up and running.
Yeah. I mean,
So it can't fix itself.
And the humans all really proud of themselves for a couple of
Fuck
minutes
yeah.
before
Well,
the
I had a good
Terminator blew
laugh
their
at it.
fucking head off.
It probably
Yeah,
could fix itself.
right,
I mean,
dude.
that's who knows what it was. That sounds like just overload.
So I have to chime in here because I'm interested in this discussion a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, don't you think one of the big differences with AI this time around is the bullseye target is on white collar intellectual stuff?
Yeah, that's a very
more
good
so
point,
than
right?
blue collar.
You're right. Actually, yeah, that is a new kind of phenomenon. You're absolutely right. Lawyers, doctors,
High-end jobs,
those
writers.
kinds of jobs,
Writers.
writers.
Well, that too, like you're
that's a
saying,
bit
GTP,
low end, but anyways, or high, depends. But yeah, you're right. That is new, absolutely. So
Well, and Kelly and I were just talking about with Chat GTP and stuff. I worry more for teens and stuff, just half-assing their way through high school and or
Yeah.
college, only to then land some job that they shouldn't have and not really know how to do it now because some robot wrote their essays for them or their thesis or whatever.
yeah, it's things are about to change with all of those kinds of things. Like you don't. I don't know if we're gonna get dumber. Like I do joke about that in my